Hello friends and followers. For the few of you who follow this channel, I think about 7 or 8 months ago I made a video about my Blue Note collection, and I was proud to announce that I completed the 1500 series. And I said the 4000 series will be completed maybe around Christmas. So I think it was 2 weeks after Christmas the last of them arrived, the Stanley Turrentine with the 3 sounds. And so I'm happy to make a video now and show you my 4000 collection, which is completed now. So I have the 1500 series, I have the 4000 series, and from the 4100s I already have 3/4 of them. I think only 28 or something are missing. And I think half about the 4200 series. So I'm close to finishing my Blue Note collection. I don't know if he's watching, but maybe he's watching. So Dan, if you're watching, I know we had some pretty hard arguments, but you inspired me to do this, so I want to give you credit for this. We know we don't agree on much, but we agree on most of the stuff, but I disagree with some of the stuff you say. So we had some hard arguments, I know, and I don't want to apologize because I still think I'm right. But I want to give you credit for inspiring me to collect the Blue Note records. So I'm going through this now piece by piece and talk a little bit also about pressing. I think I have a little different view on vinyl and record collecting because I'm a musician myself. I also can say I played with one Blue Note artist, not a famous one, but I can say I played with one. I'm doing this for 40 years now. I'm a guitar teacher at the university in Vienna since 12 or 13 years. And I played many concerts and I worked in studios. So I also know a little bit about what's going on in the studio, sound-wise and mastering and digital-wise, analog and all this stuff. So all I want to give you is my 2 cents on this. I'm not saying I know the truth, so maybe I'm wrong. But what you get here is the opinion of a musician. So this is maybe a little different than from guys who are just very deep into record collecting. Okay? So let's start with the records. First one, 4001, Sonny Rollins, Nuke's Time. Jazz collectors know Nuke was a nickname for Sonny Rollins. This one has the blue label with the black B, and they say they are not that great sounding Blue Notes. And I tend to agree. I think they are a little flat and they are not my first choice. But as I'm not a rich guy, I also have to grab what I get. And especially here in Austria, it's not that easy to find these records. But I have one story, maybe it's nice to share it. One of my former students, he played in a top 40 band during his studies. He's now a reporter. And he was rehearsing in a little rehearsing place over the border in Germany. We call it Freilassing. That's the next first little town over the border from Salzburg, where I live, Salzburg, Austria. So, and he said he found this 100 plus Blue Note records in this rehearsal room, and he got them really for cheap. And then he came to me and asked me to tell him if they are worth something, because he thought they are not first pressing, so maybe they are not worth too much. But the big surprise was nearly all of them were New York label, some of them were Liberties, and a lot of them were in near mint condition, and some of them were even in the shrink, and some even not opened. So we are talking about 5 digits here, And I think he was very happy because I brought the good news that every time he needs a new car, he can sell these records. He's not a collector. He can sell these records and get a new car for them. It's about 130 or 130 Blue Notes, near mint condition, and he found them in a little town in Germany. So for all these record hunters out there, there's still stuff around, and you can't even imagine how much and where this stuff is hidden. So good luck for the search. I buy most of the records on Discogs because here on the flea market you find mostly rock pop stuff, which I also have. I have about 4,000 records, and half of them are jazz records. But I sell a lot of this rock stuff to finance my Blue Notes. So if you're interested, I have a Discogs store too. You send me a note and I can give you the link. Okay, let's continue with the records. 4002, I think I must have one of the best Jimmy Smith, House Party, because he has all these people with him. And this is a king pressing, Japanese king pressing. And to me, besides the originals, this is the best alternative pressing you can get. They all sound fantastic. The Toshibas sound good and are to me up to the standards like a Tone Poet or a Classic Series or 80s Series. I think they are better than the 75th anniversary, but the king pressing is sometimes on my system even better than an original. So just my taste, take it and best is experience yourself. Next one, Art Blakey, one of the most important Blue Notes ever, 4003. That's Moanin', wonderful record. In this case, a Toshiba pressing from the 80s. The next two records I only recommend for drummers or people who are really into drumming and percussion. 4004, 4005. There are some pure, nearly pure drum records on Blue Note from Art Blakey, and I bought them because I wanted to have the complete set. But if you're not a completist and if you're not really into drums, I think you can skip them. Next one, Dizzy Reese, 4006, also Japanese, Toshiba one, very nice record. Donald Byrd, 4007, also Toshiba. The good thing with Japanese pressings is normally you get them in near mint condition and they're totally quiet. And if someone tells you they have a lack of bass, they don't have bass, this is absolutely not true. Maybe this is true on rock records that they did a different mastering, which has more treble and not so much bass. But for the jazz records, and especially for the Blue Notes, I think this is totally untrue. I think the Japanese sound fantastic, very well balanced, and they have a very good bass and they sound fantastic on modern systems. Next one, Horace Silva, 4008. I love Horace Silva. I know he has not the biggest stand in the collector's world, but sorry, you are all wrong, you're missing out. Bud Powell, well, what to say about Bud Powell? One of the most important piano players. 4010. This is an artist I didn't know before. I discovered him with collecting the Blue Notes, Benny Green, and I like him very much. A very nice trombone player. Again, Jimmy Smith, 4011. It's also with organ records. There's always this talk, the people don't like organ records. Why? Organ is a fantastic instrument. I play in an organ quartet with a Hammond organ player. I'm loving it. It's fantastic. 4012, Lou Donaldson with the Three Sounds. Also the Three Sounds, I know the name, but I didn't know the band until I collected Blue Notes, and I think this is a very underrated piano trio. Because they are so entertaining. They have so much swing and blues and fun. It's fantastic. This is a king pressing. Next one, Jackie Mclean, 4013. I like Jackie Mclean, especially the early Jackie Mclean. The later, depends. Three Sounds, 4014, Japanese. Oh, sorry, the next two belong together. 4015, 4016, both are Japanese. This is a king pressing, this is a Toshiba. It's funny when you have these two records with different pressings, but then, because then you can compare them, you know, because it's the same session. It was the same thing, you know. And with stuff like this, I can honestly say, if you have the choice, go for the king pressing. They sound really much better. They have, what I heard, they are mastered on a tube system. So, and it sounds like a tube system. Very fat, very good bass, very good power, very good dynamic. So, just my recommendation. So let's continue. Horace Silva, 4017. This is also a king pressing, as mentioned before. I like them. Walter Davis Jr., very underrated piano player. Very nice record. 4018. Again, Donald Byrd, 4019. The Three Sounds. This is the first Liberty pressing, and if you get the Liberty pressings in VG Plus or mint condition, yeah, I put them up to the Japanese. But before I buy a Liberty pressing, which is only VG, I go for a Japanese. Because I think noise level matters, and the Japanese are that quiet, and to me there's not much difference to the Liberty. And it also depends what record. It's not that you can say it's the same for every record. Okay, next example, Kenny Burrell, 4021. And this is a pressing I would avoid. With the Scorpio, the DMM, the French DMM, they are really horrible. This is not good. So this will be replaced in the future. Duke Pearson, 4022. I like Duke Pearson. I really like all these records. It's really tough to find a bad Blue Note record. 4023. Dizzy Reese. Jackie Mclean, Swing Swang Swang, 4024. Lou Donaldson, still one of the more kind of straight ahead records before he became this funky saxophone player. BNJ, 4025. This is a Japanese tune. And the next 4026, Donald Byrd, also an 80s Toshiba, as this one, 4027, Freddie Red. Horace Palan, also a piano player I discovered pretty late. This is a king pressing. With piano trios, the king pressing really matters because the piano sound on Blue Note is kind of so and so. I'm not a big fan of Rudy Van Gelder's piano sound because it's way too boxy. But with the king pressing, it helps a little. It gives it more depth and a little fatter. So if you have the choice, go for the king. Art Blake and the Jazzmasters, Big Beat. This is not the classic records. This is the Japanese 80s. Jimmy Smith, 4030. This is an original. Yeah, this is an original. So with artists which are not so collectible, I try to get an original because then they are affordable. Hank Mobley, Soul Station, very important album. And this is the King record. And this is the new reissue which came out under the classic, what was it, the 80s? No, it was classic. That's a classic. And I had this too with something else, the Cannibal Adderley record. I compared the classic Blue Note with the classic series from the 2000s and the Japanese. And to me, the Japanese wins. But these new reissues are very good. So if you can get them, buy them, because 25 for a record like this is really cheap, and they sound very good. Next one, I think what I heard, this will come out as a Tom Poet in the future, maybe 2022. This is number 4032, Sunny Red. This is a fantastic record. This is a French pressing, Pâté Marconi. Sorry, my French, I don't speak French. But this is not a DMM. And if you buy French pressings which are not DMM, they are very good. The DMM, stay away from them. But the regular ones, and they don't have DMM on the label, when you get them, you can buy them. They really sound very decent. DC Reese, 4033. 34 leeway, very important record. And this pressing is connoisseur pressing. I think this is from the 90s, and they say the connoisseur pressings are very good. I would say they sound decent. They are a little bit high on the treble, and I think they are okay, but they are not my favorites. Duke Pearson, 4035, also a Japanese one. Lou Donaldson, Horace Silva, also a piano player I didn't check out in my earlier years, but I like him very much, very interesting. Really has his own sound. 4037. Jackie Mclean, Japanese pressing too. Stanley Turrentine, an artist and saxophone player I like very much. The first Freddie Hubbards, and this is 304 Park Avenue South. This is a Scorpio pressing. I think I still have 3 or 4 Scorpio pressings, and I will get rid of them because they suck. Don't buy them. You recognize them on the label. It's written 304 Park Avenue South, and they sound really bad. When you compare this to a Japanese pressing or a Liberty or an original, then you know what I'm talking about. Very important cover and very good record. Tina Brooks, 4041. Horace Silva. As I told you, I'm a big Horace Silva guy, and this is an original. This is a first press. This is a 47 West 63rd, which I found for a reasonable price. And as I like Horace Silva very much, it's worth the money, I think. Horace Silva, 4043. The Three Sounds, 4044. Shades of Red, Freddie Red, 4045. 46. Duke Jordan, Flight to Jordan. These are all Japanese pressings. This is I think this is an 80s anniversary. I think this came out before the classic, before they called it the Classic Series, and they are also very good and at the same price. Arthur Taylor. Donald Byrd, 4048. This is Tom Poet. I don't have to mention the Tom Poets, I think, because everybody knows them, and everybody knows they are fantastic. 4049, very important, a Blakey record. This is an original again. This is a New York label, 4050. And as I told you before, I like Jimmy Smith, Jackie Mclean, 51. Tina Brooks, 52. This was a tough record to find. Also a Japanese reissue. 4053, Lou Donaldson. And 2 records, 54, 55, and this is again 2019 pressing. This was the 80s anniversary, and they sound very good, especially for the money. Next batch. Freddie Hubbards, 56. I love Freddie Hubbards. Some put him second to Lee Morgan, but I wouldn't do this. His sound is a little different and he's more aggressive, but he's such a killer player. Stanley Turlington with the 3 sounds, and this is the one with the white B. And as I said before, the one with the black B, this is for me kind of second grade pressing. It sounds okay. But in the future, if I find a good one, it will be replaced. Very important record, roll call, and one of the really important Blue Notes, 4058. This is a Music Masters. This is the predecessor to the Tone Poet series, Kevin Gray, and I got them for a decent price. So I have a few of them in my collection. Otherwise, I think they are too expensive, way too expensive on the secondary market. 4060 and 61, live Donald Byrd, King Pressing, and Toshiba. Again, very good for comparison. And again, King Pressing wins. This was a hard record to find. Also a Japanese, 4062, Horace Silva. Will Stop Kenny Dorham. Kenny Dorham is also one of these guys. They always talk about Lee Morgan, Freddie Hubbards, Clifford Brown. Kenny Dorham is not such a virtuose player, but he has such a good taste and such good compositions. I mean, the famous Blue Bossa is composed by him. So I think he is underrated. And this is a connoisseur pressing. As you can see here, you have this strip here. I put it on the inside because I don't wanna spoil the cover outside. So this connoisseur pressing, and I think they are decent, but not more. I would go for a Japanese. Grant Green. This is a classic record, or 80s record, sorry. The Tone Poet, Stanley Turlington, 4065. Lou Donaldson, 4066. This is again a French pressing, but not a DMM. And as I said before, if you find them, go for them. They are really a decent, very good sound. Jackie McLean, Bluesnik. This is a nice album. 4067 and a King pressing. My Japanese pressings are all in near mint condition, and they are really quiet. 4068. This is a Tone Poet, Baby Fillet. And these are 2 King pressings. Yes, Stanley Turlington up at Minton's. And one of my all-time favorite Grant Green records, number 1 Green Street. And this is a connoisseur pressing. Yeah, decent. So that's the rest. I know it's a long video, but as I don't do very many videos, this is longer. You know what? For those of you who watch this, write in the comments if you want me to do more, because I'm not so sure if I should spend more time on doing videos or not. I think there's so much out there, so many videos about records, and I'm not so sure if I should make more videos, a video a week or whatever, and if somebody is even interested in this. So it would be nice if you give me some feedback, even if it's bad feedback. I don't have a problem with criticism. I'm not doing this for a living. So in the end, if you hate me, okay, go for it. I don't care. It's just a question if I should do more videos or not. Okay, next one, 3000, and this is this universal level, and they sound very good. This is the only one from this series I have, but I'm happy with them. Freddie Hubbards, Toshiba, number 73. Horace Silva, very good record. Donald Byrd. I also love Donald Byrd. This is a king pressing also. The next 2019, so this should be an 80th anniversary, and this is an original. So what's the difference? I think there is a difference, and the original wins. But it's not that dramatic, and it's not so much better or worse. I think it's more a question of taste also, and what fits better to your system. So I was very critical with all these recommendations, what to buy and what not to buy. And I thought I spent the money and try it myself. And I think this is what you should do, because it's not this is better or this is worse. It's a question of taste, what you like more and what fits better to your system and all this stuff. And there is no real right or wrong in this. And I think this pressing discussion and this posing with originals is totally overrated. There are very good reissues out there, and you can save yourself a lot of money, and you can build a complete collection without being a millionaire. And I think these Blue Note records are worth to have them all. This is part of history. This is part of musical history, not only jazz history. Doing all right. This is a 2019 classic. They're also very good. This is an original, yes. Mono, 4078. I think, as you see this record player, I can put the second tone arm here, and I order the second tone arm, which will get a mono cartridge. And then I can listen to my mono records in mono. And I'm looking forward. And if you want, I can make a video about this. So write in the comments if you are interested. How does it compare? A very expensive record player with a stereo cartridge, with an expensive stereo cartridge, compared to a mid-priced mono cartridge. Is it worth the money? Is it worth the upgrade? Is it worth the second tone arm? Or is it just BS? What's my opinion? And it's all opinion. It's nothing fact, it's all opinion. 4079, this is an original where I spent the money. Sometimes I have to do it. 4080. Hank Mobley, one of the great saxophone players. This is also a record, 4080. I love Stanley Turrentine, but this is not his best record. Let's say it this way. King Pressing, 4082. Horace Silva. Dexter Gordon, they're a fantastic record. I love Dexter Gordon. I really love Dexter Gordon. Babyface Roulette, and I show you something because I forgot to do it here with these Japanese pressings, because you maybe ask, where is the obi? I'm not throwing away the obi, I'm not stupid, because maybe I'm reselling them in the future because I find an original. What I normally do is I put the obi inside and the record outside, because I don't want to have Japanese writing on such great covers. These Blue Note covers are pieces of art, the photography and the graphics. Every graphic designer will tell you this is a piece of art from just the graphics alone, not only the photographs. And then put a Japanese obi here and present it with the obi. I don't get it. This was just a translation for the Japanese people to know what they buy. One of the lucky finds, an original 47. No, wait, sorry. This is a king. This is a king. There's another Freddie Hubbards where I have an original. This is the king one. Again, Grant Green record, and again French pressing, DMM. Especially with Grant Green, with his trebly guitar sound, the DMM sound awful. So this has to be replaced in the future. 4087. The three sounds. 88. 89, Jackie Mclean. This is also 80s. King pressing, 4090. I mean, you have to buy all the Jazz Messenger albums. There's no discussion. This is also Sonny Clark, a pianist. I didn't know because he's on so many records, but I didn't never buy his stuff as a leader. This is a King pressing 4091, and he's an amazing player, and he's an amazing ensemble player too. So Kenny Clark, Francie Boulin and Company, the Golden Eight. And this is 4092, and there plays Carl Drabel on tenor saxophone. So I had the chance to play with Carl here. He's an Austrian saxophone player who lived in Germany and played all over Europe. And I had the chance to play with him, not only in a session, real gigs. And I was pretty young at that time, and I didn't know too much, but it was enough to play behind him, and I learned my lessons. Kenny Clark, big band. I Quebec, 4093. Fred Jackson, Hootin' and Tootin', 4094. Leo Parker, 95. Stanley Turrentine, 96. This is a tone poet again. Art Blakey, and in this case it's also a blue label with the black B, because these records, I'm happy with this. It's enough for me because I don't listen to this too much. I honestly bought them just to have the cassette complete. I listened to them once or twice and let's see. But it's not, it's only, I think it's more or less for drum fanatics. I Quebec again, Blue and Sentimental. This is also a DMM pressing. And Grant Green on Toshiba. I'm a big Grant Green guy. Grant Green and Wes Montgomery are my two favorite guys from the classic era. So, that's the 4000 collection. That's just all the 4000 number records. Again, I hope there is some use in this video. I hope some people watch it. I hope you give me some thoughts how to continue. And I don't think it takes me until the next Christmas to complete my 4100 series, because I think there's only 28 or 27 missing, and then I have this set also complete. So, do you have to have a complete set? No, you don't. This is just collector craziness. There are plenty of records you can skip, but to find really bad blue notes is a tough find, because in general I think this label is so famous and people like this label so much because every record you pick is a good record. All these people were great players, were innovators, brought the music forward, and I think there's still value in listening to these artists, because this is the foundation of music we call jazz, which is still alive today. And I know I agree with some collectors who only collect the old stuff. I also collect the new stuff. I also collect jazz, rock, fusion and whatever. The only stuff I stay away is punk and electronic music. On the other side here is a whole wall of classical music and David Bowie, AC/DC, and Beatles, Stones, and Stevie Wonder, and Curtis Mayfield, whatever. So I'm not only collecting jazz, I like all music that's played on real instruments, and music from guys who can play their instruments. So punk was never my thing. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give me some feedback on this. I really would need some feedback. And then let's see how I continue. So stay healthy in these times and see you. Bye-bye.